Well, it's still going on, isn't it? This is it's going to be the third video. I think the only reason I'm even lightly paying attention to this right now is because I've seen how the progressives tend to work with each other, and it's very, schoolyard bullshit. It's some schoolyard bullshit. And I wonder how much different this conversation would be right now if Anna had just said, I'm a cisgender woman. And, transform that conversation into, I don't want to be referred to by my body parts. I don't want to be referred to by my ability to produce children. I want to be referred to as a woman. That might have, probably not though, but had she even thrown in something like, I realized that this conversation also includes non-binary individuals and transgender men. But for me personally, I would rather you not talk about my uterus, right? Like, look at how stupid this whole thing is getting.
David Doel actually had a really good take on this, okay? He did. Possibly because he's Canadian.
Okay.
I watched the song.
I'm going to address this controversy that I'm going to bet the majority of you don't even know exist. But with that said, the reason why I want to cover this in my own video is because this is definitely, absolutely going to come up on the Leftist Mafia podcast that is going to be, that we're shooting tonight, or live streaming tonight. And we are a democratized podcast. If it were up to just me, I would say this is not worth the discussion anymore. We should be over this. But I am one person, and we are a podcast of 6. So I'm not going to, enact my authority over.
I would like to know why she wrote it in the first place. Like, why did she randomly write that? Who called her a birthing person? Who called her someone with a uterus or someone who menstruates? Who actually labeled her that way in just normal conversation? Why did she just write that? It was provocative on purpose. So was this entirely to try and boost all of your networks so that you could have some trumped up fake argument about something and then backtrack and say, well, we really do support the transgender community, but Anna's not so bad. She just randomly put something on Twitter that attracted all of the right-wing tweet accounts. Can't even.
The other people. So it's going to be talked about. It's easier for me to discuss this all here so you all understand my position on what the hell is going on. All right? Or what went on. So.
Okay.
What is this all about? So a few weeks ago, this tweet went up. And it's Anna Kasparian, TYT host, saying, I am a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. All right. There is...
How?
Okay.
How, Anna? How
Let me first say, nothing... Yes, that is fine. This is fine. Yes, nothing is wrong with wanting to be called a woman. That's fine. There's no problem with this. The issue is when you are making this into a bigger issue than it actually is. Feeding into right-wing framing on trans people during an unprecedented attack on their existence. So I'm going to explain here more into this, and I feel like at this point, when I get to Anna's video from last year, Anna knows this. This video for me is more about disappointment than anything else. I'm not doing this to cook TYT, to drag them through the mud. This video is to show my disappointment and my hope that both Anna and Cenk correct themselves here, are able to come out and apologize for misunderstanding this entire debate and clearing the air here. Because right now, I think they're losing a lot of people who have been big supporters of theirs for a long time, including myself. And to double, triple, quadruple down on this is not productive. And again, I'm going to get into explaining more, and I got a few videos to show you here. So the reason why this came back, well, before I show you why this came back up, here is I'll get to this response again, because this is a response to Cenk, and that'll come up later. But in terms of the issue around birthing people. So regarding the birthing people comment, these are my written statements. You'll have a tough time finding anyone with a real following that's claiming birthing people should replace women in all conversation. It's terminology used in academic papers and politics when it's about literal anatomy. The pushback from the left is on adopting right-wing framing of a non-issue, used by the right to further otherize trans people during an unprecedented attack on their existence. This is the issue, is using your platform to feed into right-wing narratives. And look, if this tweet got no traction, no one noticed it, this wouldn't have been a story, no one would be talking about it, it wouldn't be a thing. But because it has 127,000 likes, 27 million views apparently, these Twitter views are not really reliable, that number there. But this was quote tweeted, endorsed by people like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, all the terrible people on the right were praising Anna over this tweet. Not to say that she's now guilty by association, but when that happens, if that happened to me, I would think, okay, what did I say here that maybe I didn't mean to say? Maybe the intent wasn't.
But that's why they're doubling down on this so hard. Because they know that they're getting a lot of social media interaction. It's boosting their algorithms. And they do lean right, David. I don't know why you would say, I've been watching them for years. I don't have a problem with any of their other material. Come on now. They're not that good. Dude yells all the time. And so does she. But mostly Cenk. And they are right-leaning. You know, just because you agree with certain social programs or agree with certain populist opinions does not mean that you're actually a left-leaner, that you are considering equity for all communities and making sure that everybody has human rights. That is not, it's it's not always correlated that way, right? Anyway, you also seem to forget, and perhaps Oliemi, I hope I said her name right, will bring this up later tonight, that this all started when, at least the earliest I saw of it, was when Cori Bush put out a tweet like a year or so ago. It might have been longer. Referencing birthing person in regards to reproductive rights. So the fact that Anna's using that now, and she's in politics, she's on a political show, giving political commentary, it would be surprising if she's ignorant of the fallout that happened to Cori Bush from the right when she mentioned that terminology so that she could be all-inclusive of all the genders that reproductive rights apply to. So hopefully Oliemi will bring that up. But if not, let's see if I can find it. Here we go. It was a couple years ago. May 8th, 2021. New York Post, which is right-leaning. Congresswoman criticized for using term birthing people. Missouri Representative Cori Bush has come under fire for using the term birthing people during a speech on May 6, 2021. A Missouri Congresswoman is being widely panned after calling women birthing people in a speech at the Capitol Thursday. Representative Cori Bush, a Democrat, made the comments while discussing how doctors dismissed her pain during her 2 pregnancies. Okay? I sit before you today as a single mom, as a nurse, as an activist, congresswoman, and I am committed to doing the absolute most to protect black mothers, to protect black babies, to protect black birthing people, and to save lives, Bush told Congress. Okay, y'all? That's where it comes from. You know, it makes me mad that y'all are just like leaving out the history of this, and she's just acting like, I will just jump on board with the right-wing talking points. Y'all doing political commentary, and your memories are only 48 hours long, it seems like.
Wasn't there, but I said something that clearly was taken a certain way that I don't want it to be taken. At that point, I would delete the tweet and maybe even screenshot it, but delete the tweet and explain, okay, this is what I meant by this. I didn't mean this. It's being taken the wrong way. I apologize for any confusion around this or whatever, but that's not what's happened since then. There's been doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, and I'm going to get to why I think that is, which gets to the Hassan clip as well. But let's go to why this came back up, because this was 3 weeks ago, March 22nd. This Sunday, Ole, who's one of the hosts on the Leftist Mafia podcast that I'm on, tweets out here, the internet is filled with hating-ass people, and no one can convince me otherwise. So tweets a video about this. Anna responds, saying, oh, Ole, do you mean people who demand people cook their friends and those kind of haters? And Anna points to this video that is from that week when Anna tweeted this out, where we discussed this whole issue. It was brought up by people we responded to questions. So a lot of questions came out of it.
So for time stamp purposes, that would have been around March 22nd. It would have been the Thursday after she tweeted it, because that's when they broadcast.
Came in about this, so we responded to questions. But part of the, I think it was like an hour-long discussion, was where Ole is basically saying this.
Everybody sure feels the need to trip over their fucking feet to come out to defend her for getting cooked when all of the people get cooked all the time. I have yet to watch a video of anybody defending me from getting cooked. I've never seen it. I've never seen everybody come out. She has a lot of fucking bad takes, and then she gets cooked because she comes out unprovoked. She asks to be cooked. She got up today and she said, Twitter, cook me.
Okay, anyways, there's more to that. And there's also, God, I'm going to get to the clip. See this, we will get here. Because I'm going to show you how much praise there was. How many caveats, how much dancing around there was during this.
Yeah, seriously, like any average person would just get dragged, period, for making a comment like that. But in Anna's case, she's feeling the heat because she is an actual public person. And she got a lot of retweets, likes, and it was all mostly right-leaning. And Anna, you are a public person. You are a celebrity, a C-rated celebrity on a news show that is funded. So yeah, people are going to have some thoughts about this, and especially your peers are going to want to correct you immediately and say, we don't stand for what she's saying. They're going to want to separate themselves from your language immediately. And they have every right to do so because you all have public connections with each other. So you can whine and complain about how people are disagreeing with you, but it's not going to make a difference. They have every right to do so because you are a public personality. And you just did something really crazy that encouraged the right wing to tag along to your account.
Discussion. That this wasn't an hour long of cooking TYT. That's not what we did at all. But that's how it's being construed now by, unfortunately, Cenk and Anna as well. So Ole responds to that video saying you made transphobic statements and we spent an hour of the show defending you from allegations, which is true. We did spend an hour of the show defending her, being a turf rather than addressing the substantive problems.
Which, by the way, is a problem as well. I mean, if your friend does something wrong and you're all public personalities, you shouldn't be the one out there doing defense for them. Just say your piece on what it should have been and let it go. You know, you don't owe her anything. She fucked up. She's the one who stepped into this.
With your comment, I said I felt like they were coddling you. I stand by that. If you think that makes me a hater, knock yourself out, miss. So she responds to that saying, LOL, the meltdowns over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as a biological woman who has had a effing lifetime of being told I'm less than. I'm a woman, no apologies. Now, I don't have to explain the issue here, the issue with this, because Anna herself did. This is, I believe, last July, but this was like about a year ago. Here's Anna, about a year ago, discussing this very issue.
It's bad faith. They know. They know there's a difference between gender and sex. They know that it is very possible for someone to be born a biological male or a biological female, but in terms of gender, identify differently as a male or non-binary, but they still have the biological capacity, the physical capacity to get pregnant. So that's why the language, the rhetoric is inclusive to include those people. It is not a big deal, but they make it a big deal. They manufacture it into a big deal because that's all Republicans are. That's all they have. This is all they do. Endless bad faith arguments meant to fearmonger and direct hatred and fear toward other Americans, typically powerless Americans. It's bad faith.
Yeah, so then why did you need to like randomly tweet that out? Why did you need to stoke the fire on that? Why, if you truly believe that we need to have inclusive terms, we need to be inclusive in this subject, why would you just randomly become J.K. Rowling for a day? Actually, for several weeks now, because you won't shut up about it.
I don't even have to explain why these comments are the incorrect thing to say as a public figure who is a progressive voice, someone who's looked to, and someone who has authority in a platform like this. I don't have to explain why these comments are bad because Anna herself did a year ago.
Yeah.
It feeds into a right-wing narrative that is meant to otherize trans people. When birthing, no one is using birthing person. No one is calling her maybe one person called her a birthing person. But this is not a societal problem. It's only ever used, as I said, when discussing anatomy in academic papers and in politics to ensure that people who can give birth, whether you identify as a woman or not, are protected under those policies. Nothing, again, is wrong with her wanting to be called a woman. No one is denying that to her, but feeding into the narrative that there is sort of a push to deny that she's a woman is a problem.
Yeah, it's called trans exclusionary radical feminist. And it's also taking advantage of what's been in the news lately to try and get a viral tweet. Regardless if it's going to be right-wingers or left-wingers responding, she knows that she pulled a Jackson Hinkle, y'all. She pulled a Jackson Hinkle, and Cenk is also helping her double down on this.
Again, I'm disappointed more than anything. Because how many times must this be explained, including by herself, before she realizes that this is what the problem is using your platform to feed into this. So the next day, Cenk went on a tweet storm, quote tweeting several people. And I'll get to the one that really bothered me personally. But he says here, I replied to one of his tweets, but he says here, so David, you agree that birthing people shouldn't be used in a political context as the default term for women? It's not. It's not being used. So yeah, I agree, but it's not being used. That's not what's happening. So he says, great, that's exactly what we're saying. Bad news, apparently that means you're adopting right-wing framing. No, when you raise it and pretend it's an issue, that's adopting right-wing framing. So I already read this, but I go on to explain what I'm saying. And I also link to Emma's take from Majority Report. Emma's a good friend of Anna's, and Emma also explained this very well. It's a 5-minute video.
Yeah, seriously, like, Cenk is saying that the term birthing people is right-wing framing. Transgender people don't exist in their eyes, Cenk. In the eyes of the right wing, they are born with certain genitalia, and they must identify that way their entire life, regardless if they have physical attributes that would put them in the spectrum, regardless if they have mental attributes that would put them in the spectrum. It does not matter. So when you say birthing people is a right-wing term, you're full of shit, dude.
It's an easy watch. It appears Cenk didn't watch it because he goes on to get even crazier. So he writes here. Oh, sorry. First, Emma says here, the repeated emphasis and reaction responding to Cenk have been on social media. I can't speak to the segments you guys have done on the show. I'm not trying to be pure. I'm engaging with you, even though it's uncomfortable for me because I love you guys and I want TYT to be on the right side here. Emma's being very charitable, very kind. I love you guys. Like, nothing, very kind here. This is the tweet that really bothered me. Cenk's response here, saying, good news, we are on the right side. Mission accomplished. Now let me talk to you in a patronizing way about all of your opinions I need to correct.
Yeah, seriously, you know what? If you guys all know each other, then I imagine you have each other's phone numbers, right? So by perpetuating this particular story, what it looks like is that you're all trying to ratio each other and just get some social media clout. Whereas, when it happened, you could have all just picked up the phone and said, Anna, you need to delete that tweet. Because you probably all have contact information to get in there and actually advise her as colleagues.
The complete lack of self-awareness here is mind-boggling, considering I've watched Cenk TYT for over a decade. If he had told me, if he had come out later on and saying, oh, my account was hacked, I might have believed him because of how much this took me off guard. It just completely stunned me. And Emma replies to this saying, I was trying to express my love and appreciation for the company that gave me a start and for my good friend Anna within the context of a disagreement. This reaction is pretty shocking to me, Cenk. Have a good one. So Emma ends the interaction here, which I think was the right thing to do because Cenk, I don't know what's going on with him at all. And then he goes on. So this is that same day he goes on his show, and here's what he said, and I'm going to show you. There's no reason to play the full clip, but I want to show you what I'm going to respond to here because it is what he says here is so insane. But here it is.
One that I read. So I'll just say this. Okay, I love you, and it's okay. And if you disagree, it's okay. If you want to leave, that's okay. Okay. Thank you for being a member all this time. I appreciate it. But what in my opinion, what your misunderstanding is, and what you have maybe you didn't see is, so all this kerfuffle starts with a simple tweet. And then at least half a dozen videos from other progressives or...
Right, okay, so it started with her simple tweet, right? She wasn't replying to anybody else. She wasn't in the middle of a debate. She just randomly decided to attack a term that is being used to create inclusivity around the reproductive rights discussion. A simple tweet, right? Where she just wanted to JK rolling herself for a day. Nice work.
Leftists online, all attacking us and calling us all sorts of names. So maybe you don't see that, so you think, like, well, what is Cenk so upset about, right? So they call us all these names, and they feel super proud about it, like, oh, we are more pure. So then I fight back on Twitter, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, how could you insult us?
Cenk, I'm willing to bet he did not watch Emma's video. I'm willing to bet he did not watch our hour-long discussion on this. He probably saw a couple of clips taken out of context. I'm not sure who else covered this, but people close to them, like Emma, like myself, we were very kind. If you watch Emma's video, very kind. If you watch our take, very kind. Let me show you. So I clipped out a few moments here. So again, this is like a long discussion. If you want to watch the full discussion, it's episode 16. I'll link to below the video. You can go down and you can find the addressing Kasperian birthing people tweet. But let me clip out just portions showing you, how I first framed the discussion and also showing how a couple other people on the podcast were talking about them. There was a lot of bad faith criticism online over this, like people just blankly saying that she's anti-trans now completely, that people bringing up stupid shit like the Armenian genocide because of the Young Turks, when they have both, first of all, Anna's Armenian, but like Cenk has acknowledged the Armenian genocide like 1,000 times. And anyways, really dumb bad faith criticisms. Also ignoring the fact that, so one of the things that went viral, or not viral, but trended after this was the Young Turfs as like one of the examples of how people are calling them. If you search trans on TYT, it's purely in defense of trans people. Like, you're not going to find one video that is criticizing trans people.
Spot with the person, Anna has been nice enough to me. We are mutuals. I've done an interview with them. She is nice enough. People have different views. They have the right to evolve, yada, yada, yada. She's done good things, etc. But I think this is incredibly problematic, and I do think she deserves not to be dogpiled or to be personally attacked or to have her entire track record dismissed. But I like Anna enough. No shade on Anna, and I think she's a fabulous looking white lady. She's very popular.
But from this situation, I hope that she grows, and I hope that if I fuck up somehow and I say something sexist or insensitive, that she calls me on my bullshit, because we're not perfect. We all have our own lived experiences, and sometimes we're going to make mistakes as allies. It's just a matter of taking accountability and also recognizing the impact that we have as individuals with very big platforms.
More than charitable. Is that name calling? Is that smearing? No, we're giving context. We're saying, hey, we disagree with what was said here. And again, we're addressing it because it went viral. We didn't make it go viral. It went viral already. We're addressing it because we're being asked a question about it. And we're doing it in the context of, hey, just so you understand, TYT has a great track record on this. That's what makes...
Yeah, you've been overly generous in this situation. You've been overly generous in this situation. Because had you all been serious about your journalism in this, you would have made comparisons to the Cori Bush speech, in which she got completely dragged by the Republican press. And you would have made comparisons to J.K. Rowling. This is one from 2020. I mean, it would have been so easy for y'all to just like Google some stuff. J.K. Rowling accused of transphobia after mocking people who menstruate headline. Twitter users claimed, I don't know if I can close the thingy. Twitter users claimed that Rowling's tweet was not only exclusionary to transgender people, but also to cisgender women who don't have periods. Not everybody can have children, y'all. And some people have had hysterectomies. June 7th, 2020, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling trended on Twitter Saturday after critics accused her of transphobia for mocking a headline about people who menstruate. Rowling, who has been accused of transphobia for years, posted an opinion article about creating equality for people who menstruate following the coronavirus pandemic from Devix, a website that describes itself as a media platform for the global development community. People who menstruate, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumben, Wimpond, Woomud, Rowling tweeted. So she had a problem with an article about reproductive rights that talked about people who menstruate. This is literally, Anna literally pulled up all of the terms. She must have Googled, you all didn't, but she Googled before she wrote that tweet. She Googled before she wrote that tweet.
Makes it even more surprising and disappointing. Yet, it appears Cenk didn't watch any of the actual arguments. For a guy who, look, as I've said, I've watched endless hundreds of hours, probably thousands of hours of Cenk on TYT. For a guy who largely is very rational, he's being completely irrational here. And again, I'll get to why I think that is in a second here. But also, Anna came out That same show, I think shortly after Jenks' comments there saying this.
To be honest, I just don't really care to like collaborate with any other leftist ever again at this point.
Yeah, no,
that's where I'm at, because they come on the show, they build a name for themselves, and then they build a bigger name for themselves, trashing us as if they don't know who we are, as if they haven't worked with us, they don't know what our actual political values are.
Do you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? Right, Anna? Don't you know who I am? How dare you attack a public figure? Oh my God.
Explain in the video I just showed you. I talked about their values. I gave that context. Again, this is not a good faith disagreement here. We're being as charitable as possible. And this is the response that we get. Again, for me, it's incredible disappointment. It's not, again, I'm not here. I also don't think, I can't speak for them, but people like John Iadarola who work there, I would be stunned if he agrees with them. But because he works there, he's in a tough situation. I'm not going to, criticize him for not speaking out. I understand. But I bet you a lot of them there who work there don't agree. And what are they going to do?
You guys are progressive commentators. If you can't call out your own, yes, do it respectfully. But don't give them compliments at the same time as you're discussing the issue of where they fucked up. You can say it's surprising based on her record in the past, but don't be like, we love you so much. We've been chums for 10 years. Don't give us this, we're all in bed together bullshit. Cover the goddamn topic.
I don't know. So this is my why I think the reaction from them was so ridiculous. Only thing left to add to this drama with TYT, I think being under constant bad faith attacks for years can cloud your judgment to what is and isn't a legitimate criticism. But I would hope when people closest to you ask you to rethink it, that you would take it seriously. So I think I don't know, but I think this is what happened. They have, of course, TYT is the amount of ridiculous, and I mentioned some of it there, the Armenian genocide and all this other garbage. They've been under constant bad faith attacks for years. So it can be hard to discern what is and isn't legitimate. But if people like Emma, who in her statement saying, hey, I love you, I disagree with you, this is why. If you are being irrational to her, like, what's going on? So Hassan responds to this, and I want to play his piece, not just because he praises me or uses this tweet, but because he gives his personal experience as to why he thinks this is also the case. So check this out.
Anna was unfairly criticized by Tulsi fans, and she was ultimately right about Tulsi. So when Anna gets pushed back now by all of left Twitter, she thinks she's on the right side. Yeah, that's the other thing. David Doel actually had a really good take on this, okay?
First of all, actually had a really good take. I'm just joking, but let's keep playing.
He did. Possibly because he's Canadian. It's the last time I will ever give props to a Canadian man or people in Canada in general. Okay. He said, the only thing left to add to this drama with TYT, I think under constant bad faith, TYT has been under constant bad faith attacks for years, and that has probably clouded their judgment to what is and isn't legitimate criticism. This is something that I fucking experience on a daily basis. This is why I literally pop off sometimes on chatters who are being sarcastic, for example, because I have done this exact same thing. I've had to withstand so much insanity over the course of so many fucking years that it basically broke my brain. My immediate reaction to like any kind of misunderstanding is like, oh, he's cynically misconstruing what I'm saying. That's what's probably going on. I am not going to clarify. I'm not going to be charitable. I'm just going to fucking fire back. Ah!
Yeah, okay, so just for some context here, Hassan is young. I think he's either in his late 20s or his early 30s. And so he's still kind of popping off like somebody who would be on a message board or Reddit or, he got into a back and forth with a troll on his Twitter channel and was throwing out insults at her as though he was a Reddit user. So, or a message board user, like old school fights back and forth, the kind of shit I used to do back in 2005. So he basically put out, he was responding to a troll who he said, you just try and make people commit suicide every day. And she said something to the effect of, I sure do. And then he recommended alopecia treatments because she had an elongated forehead. And this is obviously a bad thing because there's been a history of hair problems for Black women. That, I mean, obviously with Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and it's not Rashida Tlaib, is it? It's one of the original Four Squad, and I'm spacing on which one. One of them came out and said something about having alopecia, but this is actually a common problem for Black women. And so to throw out an insult like that, he immediately got dogpiled. I get where he's coming from, that it's going to be hard for you to discern what's real criticism after you've been conditioned through, but like seriously, like they could very easily, well, not anymore, not anymore with the changes from Elon Musk. It used to be that you could turn off, like mute everybody that was, that you were not following, right? Anybody who replied to you that you weren't following, you could actually mute them. There was also, I think, an option where the only people that could get through that you could see were other blue checks, but that's completely irrelevant now because now you can buy a blue check. But at the end of the day, like when I get trolled too, not on the same level as these people, but I have been dogpiled online several times. And you know what? I don't reply. I delete and block. Delete and block. I am not going to put up with that kind of bullshit from trolls. And I don't care what the size of your following is. I've blocked Elon Musk, y'all. I don't want a bunch of right-wing garbage in my feed. I want to see the newspapers, which a lot of them are pulling out now. I want to see the news publications. I want to see my activist network. I do not want to see your retweets of these types of fights because this is like such a waste of my time. The only reason I'm sitting here doing it now is because I'm cleaning my house. And so it's just kind of on in the background and I'm adding some commentary here and there.
Right? It's like a trauma response almost. Okay?
And he goes on to explain, it gives an example as well, and Hassan knows from experience. And he's been able to catch himself, even after maybe making a mistake, but catch himself and then realize, yeah, this is, my reaction here is not rational. It's only rational in the sense that he's under attack all the time, so naturally you have sort of a defense response. But he's able to think through that and stop himself. And I think that's what went on here, and Anna and Cenk did not do that. And he also goes on to discuss the other tweets here, this is kind of why I don't want to talk about this on Leftist Mafia, because I don't think it's really going to be beneficial. But here is a few things that I share. So FYI, there are chaos accounts on here playing both sides in an attempt to cause some larger rift. I found 3 just browsing around. If I had dug deeper, I'm sure there are countless accounts trying to create divisions here. But one case where this person's criticizing me, saying, sure, Mr. Entitled White Person, teach us what isn't bad faith in your opinion. Trying to pretend that they're super far left. I'm being bad faith as a entitled white person. Yet, their pinned tweet is transphobia.
Yep.
So, You're both extremely right wing and also very left wing. There's another example. Another example here. Random crypto account brings up this drama while tagging Anna in a reply to a tweet about Twitter and video games. My tweet here, nothing at all to do with what this discussion is about. Saying if Elon Musk was smart, he would have added a Twitter feature where you can opt in out of certain topics. So say, for example, I want to tweet about how Valkyria Chronicles 1 and 4 are on sale, bundle for $11. True. Amazing. Anyways, on the eShop, if you opted out of my gaming tweets, I wouldn't bug you. Which I think this should be added. It's a great feature. But this, what is this? I think you are extremely fair to Anna Kasparian. I'm like, what? This has nothing. And what I also notice is they tag the people because they want interaction, right? They want Anna to see this. So it says Anna.
Yeah, and they want to provoke her. They want her to jump on board and start pushing up their tweets.
Kasparian in that Leftist Mafia podcast. I don't understand Anna's reaction, however. Ole was out of line and tried to unfairly accuse you guys of coddling white women. So anyways, trying to stir up more shit when it's a crypto account. They're retweeting.
No, wait, notice that? You want to coddle white women? Do you think it's only white women who are TERFs? It's only white women who are TERFs? You think that there's no other ethnicity that might actually kind of be on the same side as you, Anna? This is like so revealing, you guys. This is very revealing.
Rand Paul. Like this is the what this is again, accounts like this that are not would have no reason to be engaged with this shit. But they're existing simply to try and start some crap. And one last example here. Person playing both sides, and this is one that actually has blocked Hassan. So here's a person has Hassan's profile picture, Hassan Abi, his Twitter profile or Twitter name backwards, and this person blocked Hassan. Such a big Hassan fan, they blocked him. But writes here, just curious, will you ever speak out against your bestie Anna Kasparian unprovoked attack on Ole? Yet, interestingly, here they are defending Anna. Twitter's full of brain-broken people, and every day it is getting worse. Anna Kasparian shares a cis woman's perspective, a true progressive, not ready to hold back on honest, open conversations. Playing both sides here.
Yeah.
Again, with the tagging of the names, trying to start crap. So bad faith. But that's why I had to address this all here. So there's likely going to be a discussion tonight on this podcast, on our podcast. We stream live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. So come check it out on this channel if you want. But this issue that most people don't even know, most people on YouTube have no idea what the hell this was even about before I talked about it. But I think it was worth addressing to clear the air and get my thoughts on this. Oh yeah, one last thing, because I wrote this down in my notes, and I do think this is also an important point to make here. When it comes to Anne's comments about birthing people, there are comments that I see from people on the left, including prominent people, that I disagree with. And guess what? I shut my mouth. You know why? Because they don't have power. The left doesn't have power. Why am I going to spend my energy, my platform, attacking them over that when we don't have power? Unless they're feeding into right-wing narratives, using their platforms and all of a sudden now be right-wing. But I'm talking about things that I think would be considered maybe too far left. I don't know. But just like random comments that I just don't agree with. But it's not, they have no power. You have to, even if you don't want to be engaged in I don't know, the activism or what you may view as being too far left, to use your high horse to then attack those people who are doing that work, who have no power, who just want, in this case, just want to be people. Just want to be, which also goes to how ridiculous the criticism around birthing people is. At least they're being called people. Trans people don't have that same luxury. So this is just all around. It's a ridiculous thing.
Wait, correction. That gives them power by being included in the discussion. Because birthing people is not solely about women. It's about women, non-binary, and transgender men who still have the ability to reproduce. That's all it is.
to feed into. And I would hope with these good faith criticisms, trying my best here, again, still 3 weeks later, I would hope that they would reconsider, and if they even watch this video, because it appears they didn't watch the other ones.
Y'all got to do more research. Clearly, Anna's been reading up on some of these statements because she's quoting people exactly. She has no examples of when anybody has actually called her these things. And so the only way it would be applicable to her is through the press like that.